views and opinions expressed by callers, guests, and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of the Black Talk Radio Network and Black Talk Media Project. Black Talk Radio is new black media for the new millennium. I'm not sure. We're having some technical issues. You are tuned in to Mind, Body, and Spirit Radio. Black Rose, do we have you on the line? I'm unable to hear you. Good evening, Featherlight. Do we have you? All right, listeners, bear with us as we work through these technical issues. I'm unable to hear either of the ladies tonight. Black Rose, are you there? We are not able to hear you. Perhaps your microphone is muted manually on your headset. I'm not sure, but everyone's unmuted on the board and we're not able to hear anyone.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Duh. Yes. My apologies. I did have my mic muted. Oh, my goodness. I just been saying hello. Hey, yay. Hey, Scotty, we're here. Thank you, Scotty. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for your patience. Let's see if Featherlight, you have your mic together. I can see you over there getting it together. Again, we have these new headphones in our studio, so bear with us, people. Thanks, Scotty. Featherlight, up and running. Check, no check. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. While Featherlight's getting her mic all situated and together. Welcome in, everybody. It is Wednesday. Welcome to the Mind, Body, and Spirit Radio Show. We are coming to you live. And it is the 10th. We are already into the 10th day of January. This month, to me, it seems like it's kind of creeping by. It's just like inching. Maybe because I was so sick over the past month, it seems, and it's just like creeping by. So anyway, I am living my dream, #living my dream, enjoying my life, whatever month it is, whatever day it is, because I create my own reality. And I'm glad that you are here in our world, because tonight we are talking all things spiritual as usual with the Mind Spirit Radio Show. And we will have author and musician Chris James, also known as Olin Christopher Bell. His birth name is Olin Christopher Bell, a.k.a. Chris James. He is the author of the book Music Saved My Life. That sounds like a song. Music Saved My Life. From Darkness into the Light. My life as a 70s R&B soul singer. He was a member of the group Natural 4, and they had these big, beautiful naturals back in the day. Some of you young people may not remember those naturals or know that we used to call the froze or the natural hairstyles. We just called them naturals. And I remember one Easter, I had my natural. I probably was about maybe 5 or 6 or 7, maybe about 7. I had the cutest little dress. And my mom put the cutest little bow in my hair for Easter, But I did not want that natural because my aunt, who grew up with me like an older sister, she's only 3 years older than I am. And so my grandmother had pressed her hair out and put all these curls in it with the Marcel irons. And honey, I wanted my hair just like my aunt's because, I idolized her. I thought she was just everything. She was my aunt. To me, my aunt was like the chocolate on chocolate. So I wanted my little hair curled up, but I had that natural. And when I look back at those pictures, I say, I look so cute. And I fussed and complained and was fussing with my mom. And, you didn't straighten my hair. So anyway, just thinking about that. I digress. Let me see. Featherlight, you got that mic together yet? What's up? Can't hear you, Featherlight. Try that button right there. Try that little button. Because that's what I was doing. I had my little button, my mute activated. That little button right there that has like the mic picture at the top and bottom. And just push that. Push it up. Or push it down. Push it in the opposite direction of whatever it's in because your mic is not on. Still not working. Not working. Not working, Featherlight. So let me move on into this quote. Get your mic right. Get your life right, Featherlight. In the end,
Black Rose, before you move on,
yes.
She connected, so if she want to check her connections on the conference line, since she's connected via computer, that little headset where it says choose audio devices, that's something to check right there. But
Okay.
it could be in your case, the mute button on the physical headsets is what's stopping her. But those are some of the things she can check.
Okay. Check those specifics. Scotty mentioned Featherlight and see what's what. We may have to go to a quick tune or something, Scotty, because I know Featherlight has something she's supposed to share with us in the beginning, and I want to hear it. You got it, Feather? Woo! Come on back to us. Come back to the light. Come back to the light, Featherlight.
Yeah,
come back to the light. You're almost there. Come back to the light.
Yeah, we have her now.
You're in the okay. You in the sunken place. Woo. And I think you went back into the sunken place. I don't know what's going on. You're in the sunken place. Are you there yet? Are you there? Okay, there's something going on. All right, but I think that you'll be able to figure it out because you did figure it out. We heard you briefly. So let me just proceed with this quote, and maybe she'll have that mic together. In the end, I have to get my voice. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. And that is a quote by the Honorable Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr., who will be celebrating, but we celebrate him every single day of our lives. But he will be nationally celebrated and worldly celebrated this Monday. And here in Galveston, there is a MLK parade. I'm looking forward to this parade. This will be my first parade here in Galveston. I used to participate in the parades all the time in Memphis, of course, as well as April 4th Action Day. But so this will be the first parade here in Galveston. I think it's just going up 25th Street. I believe it's starting at Church and 25th Street here in Galveston. And it'll go up to 25th Street, all the way up to Pleasure Pier, where the seawall is. The little Coney Island slice, the little slice of Coney Island here in Galveston. So if you are anywhere near the Galveston Island area, Saturday, you are welcome to come, and you can see the parade. So I'm looking forward to it. So that's my quote from Dr. King. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. And I really, really like this quote, because when people are silent, when you sit on the sidelines, and when you don't participate, and when you don't speak up, when you don't speak your truth and the truth of others, and you don't support them, that's just as deadly as the enemy, because you are an enemy. Because you sit in silence while I suffer. So that's an enemy to me. So I really appreciate these wise words by the Honorable Dr. King. Your thoughts, Featherlight? Let's see if you have that mic together. Oh, no, we don't hear you.
Yeah, while you were talking, I heard, well, you could actually see sound coming off of her mic. But it went back dark again. So if she want to check those buttons again, come on, Featherlight.
Featherlight.
You depriving us of your voice. Come on now.
I know that's right, Scotty. I know that's right. I was hoping that you could assist me with a short pranayama, because I've been rushing. I mean, Scotty, I just came in off the highway from Houston, sat down in the studio, ready to jump on. So I was like, oh, maybe Featherlight can give us just like maybe 30, 40 seconds of breathing, so I can just like just breathe and calm down a little bit.
So if y'all need some time, I could go ahead and play a music track, and you could perhaps assist her. Please
do that.
Okay, we'll do that.
Okay, so listeners, while we work with this technical difficulty that we're experiencing, we'll be right back, and just stay tuned and listen to this musical selection that Scotty will play for us, and we will be right back. You're tuned in to the Mind, Body, and Spirit Radio Show. And while we're on this little break, getting our technology together here, our mics, be sure to go on to the Black Talk Radio Network page and donate. Scotty, I have not been donating like I would like to, and I promise you that going into 2018, I am going to do better, because I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing, providing this platform for us. And brother, I got you.
Well, we're having a membership drive for those who are listening. We had like 60,000 people on average tune in to the radio stream by itself. That's not just visitors to the platform. That's only just those who listen to the radio stream. So we have a membership drive this year with a goal of 5,000 members for BTR community, with a subscription of just $24 a year. We find that if we could get those 5,000 members, we'll be able to provide a proper budget for Black Talk Media Project and be able to expand our programming, not just on this platform, but create another platform that'll serve as a model and an incubator as we try to establish media centers with radio stations in various communities around the country. So that's our goal this year, 5,000 members of BTR community.
Okay, 5,000 members. You heard that, 5,000 members. So do your part and join BTR. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that about the media center, Scotty, because where we just relocated to here in Galveston, there's a media school right next door to me. I mean, literally next door to me. And I'm very interested in exploring the school and seeing how we can incorporate some of the technology that they're using and work with those children on building more media centers. So Keep me plugged into that, Scotty.
Most
Let me try to
certainly.
help Featherlight with this mic. Give us some music, Scotty. Would you please? And we'll be right back.
Can we get a mic check from Featherlight? Featherlight, are you there? Can we get a mic check?
This right here.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay.
All right. Good to hear your voice finally. So if we can get Black Rose back in, we'll be ready to roll.
Yes. Thank you for working with me.
Oh, you're welcome. No
Got
problem.
it.
Black Rose, do we have you? We'll wait for Black Rose to
Okay.
Okay. I think that we are all situated and set at this time. Featherlight.
Yes. Namaste.
There she is. Yes, there she is. All right. Okay, Featherlight. Now, look, our guests will be coming on shortly. So let's go ahead on and get right back into it. Goodness gracious. Didn't even get a chance to get into some of these hot topics, but I guess I can push some of those back because there's so much going on. Let you go ahead on and share your quote. How about that?
Okay. My apologies, audience. You know, these things happen. We've been working on this for a long time to try to get my equipment together for you. So here is my quote. I have a field on my mind that needs plowing. I have a field on my mind that needs plowing. Can you relate to that, Black Rose, or is that kind of like way out there? Black Rose? Hello? Namaste.
Expound. Could you just expound on that?
Okay. There is a lot of unresolved matters or issues or emotions that we keep inside of us sometimes, and it just needs to be released. It needs to be discussed. It needs to be plowed through, dealt with, so that you can move on.
Yes.
So
release it.
I got that.
Release it.
Yeah, right. Bag Lady by Erykah Badu, carrying a lot of baggage from relationship to relationship. That would be something that would fall under that category. Releasing. A lot of people are doing that lately, and I'm sure it feels good. It's very therapeutic. And our guest wrote a book, and I am most certain that was extremely therapeutic for him. He did a lot of plowing, writing that book.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for sharing that. Just quickly, are you familiar with this story about this Amara La Negra? She's a Dominican singer, and I think she's on one of these hip hop shows or something, Love and Hip Hop or whatever. And apparently, the producer said something about her afro not being classy because she's an Afro Latina, Afro Dominican, and proud of it. Unlike some Dominicans, from my understanding. And so the producer tried to tell her that her afro was not elegant enough. And I mean, she just flat went off, got him together. And like, I think in the next 3 days or something, she was offered this massive contract. So I just wanted to applaud her. Her picture popped up. Yeah, she wasn't on my hot topic, but I did intend to mention that last week. When I heard her story, I'll send you a picture.
Okay. Well, bravo for her.
Yeah, and some people are saying that she's not really that black. She takes melanin pills and all of this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know too many Dominicans that want to be darker because they are oppressed like darker people are in different parts of the world. Like the darker Indians, the untouchables, they're the oppressed ones. Right. So I don't think that she would try to deliberately take some melanin pills. I think she's a chocolate sister, and she's proud of being chocolate. Moving right along, the gemstones that people requested. Last week we mentioned that we would give out the aventurine crystal gemstone, and those are being mailed out to everyone that requested one. And you can still request the aventurine gemstone, just send us an email at mindbodyandspiritradioshow@gmail.com. We will send you the free Mind, Body, and Spirit aventurine gemstone that you can place in your intention box. And the aventurine gemstone is a lucky stone. All of your opportunities will line up and manifest. So you will receive the luck, the fortune that you are desirous of, but you have to set your intention. And Featherlight, you want to speak on the numerology offering?
Oh yes, I have completed the report for the guests that requested it, and I hope that they find it very interesting. And if you have accepted the fact that everything is energy, the chair you're sitting in, the words in your coming out of your mouth, everything is energy, and letters are energy, and the combination of letters produce certain energies, just like the gemstones from the earth present certain energies, certain properties of energy. So does your name and your birth date. Just like astrology, you're born a certain day, a certain month. There are certain characteristics about you, certain personalities, certain persona, and it's so accurate. It is so accurate. And to know these things, you probably wonder, well, why would I want to know this? Well, you may find out something about yourself as to why you're doing what you're doing. And just knowing this will help you to see what it is that you can do to make your life a little bit smoother, knowing some of these interesting facts about why you do what you do. And the type of people that you attract because of your persona. So, and it tells you what your challenges are. Mm-hmm. So, it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting.
Great. So now let's move on and talk about this H&M monkey ad briefly, because it's caused quite a bit of controversy. Some people may feel indifferent about it. Some people may not be bothered about it. So the little boy was placed in the ad with the green hoodie on for H&M, which is a clothing store, and his hoodie read "The Coolest Monkey." So if anybody knows anything about our history, Black history, we've often been related to animals and monkeys. Whenever there's some type of imagery of Africa, it's always an animal, a lion or something like that, versus you having an image of gold or diamonds or pyramids. Why do they always choose a lion or a gorilla or something like that? And so now this ad was so hurtful to many people because, remember, Aja, and I know you're old enough to remember this. Some of the young people may not recall this. Scotty, not trying to call your age, but I'm sure that you can remember this too. Remember when AT&T had that international phone call ad, and for all the different places like France, they had the imagery of the tam, and then I don't know, somewhere else they had some other kind of imagery, and then for Africa, for your international call, there was a picture of a gorilla. So see, we've always dealt with this type of thing, and so for people to continue to be insensitive like that, it bothered many people. So you can call in and share your thoughts if you have any thoughts on it, or if you thought maybe y'all just being too sensitive about things. Some people are saying they tired of hearing people talk about Me Too. It's even some women saying it. They're saying that it's gone too far. I mean, now people don't even know how to interface with somebody. People are afraid to shake your hand. They're afraid to give you a hug. They're afraid to say anything, do anything, because they may be accused of harassment. So that could very well be true, but you can call in and share your thoughts on that here at the Mind, Body, and Spirit radio show if you have some thoughts on it. Do you have anything you'd like to share about that ad and imagery, Featherlight, before we go to our guest?
There's another company, Benot or something like it's I can't think of the name of it, but it makes insensitive ads like that too. It had a little girl. She was about 5, and her hairstyle was in the shape of 2 horns.
Oh.
I mean, they looked just like 2 devil horns. And then the little white girl had the Shirley Temple golden locks, and they were supposed to be promoting something, but that was very obvious. So it ticks me off too. I'm not one to say, "Oh, just forget about it." No, that needs to stop, and we need to say something. We need to just be vocal about it. Anyway, those are my thoughts.
Well, let's welcome in our guest, Oline Christopher Bell, aka Chris James. Welcome into the Mind, Body, and Spirit Show. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Very well.
Hello. Namaste. Glad to have you. Glad to have you as a guest on our show. Yes. Thank you so much for sending the book. My goodness. What a page turner. What a page turner.
The book is, 100 and about 133 pages. That's with the acknowledgments at the end. And I read it like in an evening. I just sat down and just read it. And that's even with me like making little markers and notes in the book. So it's a quick read, very good read.
Yes, very good
There
read.
were times, I just had to like kind of put the book down for a minute and just say, It's one of those kind of books where you just stop.
It is.
Say,
Yes.
So the name of your book is Music Saved My Life, Darkness into the Light. My life as a 70s R&B soul singer. What a long title. How did you come up with that long title?
I don't know. It just happened.
Well, I like the title, even starting with the music saved my life, because music saved my life. I often think about how somebody like Prince, and I've mentioned this to Featherlight and friends and just people over the years, how, especially like when Prince passed, I thought about how his music saved my life and how it formed me as a person. Some of his lyrics when he would say things like, we just want to be free and just live. Just so much of his music, it helped me make it through, and it helped me grow into the person that I am and be a free person and a free thinker. How did music save your life? Talk about your book for us. What was this inspiration?
Through most of my childhood, as read in the book, it was not a normal, whatever normal is, childhood, and music was always a part of it. Even as a child, we grew up having to, not having to, but we're lucky enough to be able to sing and understand harmonies, and so music was always in the forefront of my being. For me, it was always something that, even when things were really bad, I could sing even as a child, I could sing my way through things that were not necessarily pleasant. So for me, music was always a major influence on everything that I did, and it was not all R&B or soul. We, as kids, got to hear classical music as well as jazz, a lot of classical music, and of course gospel. So music was always played a major part. And it always seemed to move things out of the way that you really didn't want to deal with. So music it was always there for me. It was always my friend.
Brother Light, I know you have some questions for him, but if I could just ask him just to follow up, and you mentioned your childhood not being normal. What was it like, and what would have made it normal to you? Well, let me ask you this. What made your childhood abnormal?
Just the way we were raised in comparison to other kids in the area and other kids in the neighborhood that I grew up with. Just the things that would happen to us in the middle of the night, like kids coming coming over to the house because my mother had him come and having to get out of the bed and sleeping on the floor, and it would be kids of multi-ethnic background, black kids, but specifically white kids. And we weren't in the South. We were talking about Oakland, California. And it was not like it was back in Mississippi and Alabama in terms of the white person saying get out to bed. It was just the way that we were brought up. If mother would bring some kids home in the middle of the night, automatically we were going to have to get out. Didn't matter what color they were. We were going to have to get out of bed and let them sleep in the bed. Those things, to me, were not normal. You usually hear other kids talking about these types of things. So that is just one particular incident that, for me, was abnormal. Even as a kid, I'm saying, why? Why do I have to get out of bed for somebody else's kid? And if you say anything about you got your behind beat. So that, to me, was abnormal.
I can imagine that if you've been awakened to remove yourself from the bed for someone else, and you wonder, like you said, why?
Yeah. What's the point? They're coming to my house. I got to sleep on the floor, and they sleeping in my bed. And
why am I taking out of my comfort?
Exactly, and it was not always white kids. It was kids in general. Of course, black and white back then, but it was just, to me, that was just, and I would always ask, and I would always get in trouble.
All right.
Well, Chris, let me ask you this: was she, quote unquote, a foster, just a permanent type foster parent, or is this just something that she just did on her own?
Well, because we didn't know so much about mother's business, they weren't foster kids per se.
Okay.
They were kids that were from broken homes in the middle of the night, and I don't know how she got caught up in it, because mother really never shared too much with us. She just did things because she was the boss. Mm-hmm. But it was not like they were going to be foster kids. Some of them, they stayed 2 weeks, a month, 2 months. The longest family that stayed was the Parks family, and they stayed off and on with us for like years, like a lot of years. But they were not they were not foster. It was the mother and the kids. So it was not like a foster situation. It was just mother would just go to the courthouse and something was happening, or she heard about somebody needing a place to stay, and she'd bring them in the house. That's just how she was. Of course, she didn't do it for free.
Okay.
It was always monetary. There was always some money involved.
Okay, I guess that should have been how I put it. Was there any money involved? Okay.
Yes, it was always some kind of payment. Some kind of form.
Okay. All right. That lets me know something.
That was your next question.
Okay. Yes. How did you feel? Now, this is one of the things that just made me put the book down. I mean, I had to put the book down several times. It took me a couple of evenings because I related to a controlling mother somewhat. I mean, my mother was controlling, so I'd have to just like, have flashbacks. But with all due respect, on a scale of 1 to 10, your mother would be like a 12 and mine would be like a 5. So I wanted to ask, how did you feel when you found out you were married to someone you didn't love and you weren't even present at the ceremony? That has to be the most...
Yeah, I think you should explain that, because he writes about this in the book. If you could just briefly speak on that, maybe not give it all away for everyone.
Oh, well, you asked the question, how did I feel? It was for me. It was really extremely devastating, especially coming back to the States at the time that I came back. It was like I went on autopilot. It was like I was in a dream. It was like, this can't be happening. This can't be real. it took me, years to get past that, and it was almost like, even though I was supposed to be an adult, mother was still controlling my life. Even when I'm in another place, she's still controlling my life. It sucked. It was horrible. It was probably one of the worst things that ever happened to me in my life.
I can imagine that. I can imagine
crazy.
that.
It was crazy. It was insane.
Kind of like
you
an
experienced
arranged marriage.
I'm sorry?
Right.
Like an arranged marriage, forced arranged marriage.
Yeah, it sucked. Period. And I expressed that, but to deaf ears, and then it went on forever for 24 years. It went on. It was horrible. It was ugly. It was rude. It was, in a lot of ways, very debilitating. It made me do and say things that I normally would not do and or say. It made my life. It made me go outside of whatever that was in terms of a marriage. I was never faithful as a husband, ever. In the whole marriage, didn't want to be, didn't care. But when the kids came, I'm stuck.
Yes. Yeah. And so your marriage to Mary, why was your mother so adamant about you marrying her?
Color of her skin, the grade of her hair. Because her and my mother got along. I mean, all the way to my mother's death.
And when you mentioned the color of her skin, and that is familiar for many of us in the Black community, and we talk about colorism here at the Mind, Body, and Spirit radio show, and we're talking to Chris James, author of Music Saved My Life from Darkness into the Light, My Life as a 70s R&B Soul Singer. You need to go on Amazon, or where else can they go and purchase this book, so then that way that they can also reach your book before we may lose some people. Can people purchase
get it
book
on my website, which is chrisjames-natural4.com. You can buy it there.
Okay. Chris James -4?
No, Chris James-natural4.
Natural 4. And we want you to talk about the Natural 4 also, the group that you were a part of from 1968 to 76. Your brothers were cool and dapper. Ooh, I love these pictures.
Love them. Yes, I do too. I liked watching them on Soul Train. With the you had some really nice moves. Yes, you had some very nice moves.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, so now back in the day, but I bet you still have it, though. I bet you still have it, Mr. James.
No,
I'm
not
sure
like that, darling. Not like that.
But before to your experience as an artist and singer with Natural 4, let's just briefly touch on this colorism, because I think that's so important, and it did impact your life in such a negative way. Colorism, when we feel that one color is, I guess, more attractive than the other. And so your mother was one of those mothers, and I have people like that in my family. They think that lighter skin is more attractive. And I tell you, if it wasn't for one of my uncles always telling me that I was beautiful and that I was smart, my self-esteem would have been very, very low, because my aunt that I was speaking of earlier, who I thought, could melt the moon, she's light. She's of a lighter complexion than I am. And I don't know if I knew that with her being, having a lighter complexion, maybe I thought she was just, so extremely beautiful, or did I just really think she was beautiful because she is a beautiful person and I love her so much. She was like my sister. But I knew that other people perceived her as being extremely pretty because of her skin tone. And so thankfully, I did have my uncle there to tell me that I too was pretty. But for people who may not have someone like that, and then you have someone that's putting someone else on a pedestal, like their skin color makes them superior, that can be devastating for people. And just your mother wanting you to be with this woman just because she thought she was pretty, not because you loved her or she loved you and this is the best person for you, and to have to be trapped in such a marriage like that. How I can see why you had yourself to something to come out of that situation, like music.
It was more than just that. It was also the grade of hair. It was also my grandmother. She was, being at the time back then, the darkest in my family, especially during the summer times in the Bay Area. But I was for the when the four older children, myself, my sister Lynn was passed, my brother Joseph, and my sister Rose. Because I was the darkest, it was always almost, you can't say racism, but there was always remarks made in reference to my color. So I started off with a psychological handicap, just thinking, okay, you're black, and then, back in the day, they would, straighten our hair, even mine, and then send me to school. And then when it rained, I was screwed. So there was a lot of things that they did back then, to try to make that has, to me, gone to this day, come into to play these days. As I said, me as a male child, mother would straighten my hair and comb my hair back and pat it down and go through the changes. And then when recess time came, as I said, all that changed. It was back to and so I was humiliated. And most of the people that we knew, most of the people that came by our house back then in Oakland, East Oakland was a predominantly white neighborhood. I think there may have been 25 kids in school that held, say 500. It maybe when I was growing up, it was maybe 25 African Americans in the classrooms, maximum. So even though we didn't see racism in the school, there was racism within inside our house, and racism in a different way by being called blackie or nappy head or things like that that were degrading. And this came from within inside my own home. My grandmother was very, very fair skin with cold black hair, so she was Indian. So the long and the short of all of this was a lot of the things that happened, like the N-word, was used in my household. I never heard it in school. That's something that's never happened. Now, when I got in the service, I might have heard it once or two times, but mainly those words were used right in my own household during that.
Directed to whom?
Just in general.
Oh, okay.
Not to any one particular person, just in comments. So when I hear these young people using the N-word, it was offensive then. It's still offensive now. But it was a common thing, and it was used, even though we were told that the N-word meant a dirty person, period. So there were so many mixed signals going on when I was growing up that you didn't know what to take for what to take for real and what to push to the side.
So you also received like different types of worship.
Yes. Two
ideals.
Two specifically.
Right.
Yeah, we did. My mother was considered a medium, so she'd have mostly 99% Caucasians would come to the house. She'd read them. They'd pay her big bucks. She'd tell them to speak to the cousins that had crossed over and stuff like that. Again, me being the person that I was, I would always say it was bogus and get my behind, be behind. But we'd have to sit at the table when they was doing all this weird stuff. And then we'd go to church, which was a holiness church, the next day. So if people came over on Saturday, Sunday we'd be in church. So to me, there was always mixed signals. Is it either going to be spiritual, like reading the Bible, or is it going to be the spirit world? So it was a problem. For me, it was a problem. And I would always make comments and always get in trouble for making the comments.
And that's a pretty different household to grow up in, with the dichotomy of the medium and the spirits, and then you go into church also. So I can see how that would be confusing. But talk about your time with the Natural Four. Did you join with the group, and what was that experience like? You were around people like Funkadelic, Curtis Mayfield. You ran into Ted Pendergrass.
That was a really good part of my life. That was for the most part, it was a good part of my life because when I came back, I played music when I was in Germany, and when I got back here to the States, in the 60s was when the group started, and it was to be able to perform with and be around people like Sly Stone before he became eclectic. Was a wonderful thing. There was a big music boom in the Bay Area when I got back from Germany. It was a really big thing. Everybody was there. You had Lenny Williams, you had Tyler Powell, you had the Pointer Sisters. There were several major groups that came up from the Bay Area. Larry Graham. So for me, it was a really wonderful time of my life. Musically, it was a wonderful time, even though my first part of music came from singing with my brothers and sisters. That's when I learned harmonies back, in my early childhood. We learned, one of the biggest things where we learned how to do harmonies really quick. But being able to be on shows with Lionel Richie, which was a comedy at the time, Curtis Mayfield, the Impressions, most of the major artists that were happening back then, Natural Four got an opportunity to perform with a whole slew of them.
You said Natural Four was able to perform. I didn't hear your last sentence.
I said that we were able to perform on show with a slew of the major artists back in the day.
Yes, I love Curtis Mayfield. Oh my God.
Oh, me too. He was a very, 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 very nice person.
You had a question, Feather?
I remember Can This Be Real? Are you going to play anything for us tonight?
Who, me?
I love that song.
I'm on my cell phone.
No, I mean, I thought you had a clip or something to play for us. But I just love that song, Can This Be Real? Yeah, it was so beautiful. Beautiful.
Do you remember the song that most people remember is Can This Be Real? And what I'm trying to get people to understand, that was not our first big hit. Our first big hit was a song when we were on ABC before Curtis. We were on ABC Records, and the first big hit was a song that just played in the Bay Area. And when the song back then sold more than 2,000 records, it was considered really good, especially if it got played on either KDIA or KSOL. The very first song that we did was a song called I Thought You Were Mine from the album entitled Good Vibes, which no one talks about because it's almost like no one's ever heard of it. But the big song that really went well in the Hispanic community was really big, was called Why Should We Stop Now? And that was on ABC Records. And in between there, we did some other things on Give a Little Love, which was on Chess Records. So there's more of a history than just Can This Be Real. I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just saying we started off in 1967 with I Thought You Were Mine to Why Should We Stop Now, then to Give a Little Love. And those were progressively getting up to and to include Can This Be Real? And then Heaven Right Here on Earth. And then
Yes, I remember that one.
The last one we did was Night Chaser. And that was done by Chuck Jackson.
Yes.
Chuck Jackson and Marvin Yancey.
I wonder if maybe some of your songs just weren't played as far down as the South. Maybe they didn't play.
They weren't. They didn't get down here.
Oh.
They didn't get down here, and I know that for it to be a fact. Because see, we didn't tour. Natural 4 didn't do. We went to Texas, and the first Natural 4, because there were actually 3 extensions of the Sirius Natural 4, and we got to Texas, but we didn't do any other part of the South. We were not really. It's like the Whispers have been from West Coast to East Coast, completely across the spectrum, and they came in actually after us in a lot of ways, especially in the Bay Area. And they're from, if I'm not mistaken, they're from Nevada, was where they originated from. So they were not not original Bay Area artists, but we didn't have the kind of producers that the Whispers had. They had Dick Griffey, and they plus the Whispers wrote a lot of their own material, and Natural 4 didn't do that in either section of the group. I mean, extensions of the group. Natural 4, we wrote maybe 2 songs on all of our albums. The rest of the stuff was written for us, and we didn't pay attention that like we should have, myself included, and handle our business like we should have handled it, and did more writing. I think that had we done that, but we were not a group like the Whispers. You had 2 brothers, so you're going to automatically have a family tie, and then everybody else around them, Nick, and Marcus, and the rest of the guys, they saw where with me, with the Natural 4, it was really catch as catch can, for a better term. You had the first group, and they did it, which was Alan, Punkin, Johnny, and myself, John January. And they were not really in it to win it. Okay? And then the second extension, which was myself, the third, Steve Strickland, Daryl Kennedy, and myself, and Delmus Whitley, was just the right voices, wrong combination. People don't see what's happening on the inside. The reason the group didn't go any further than Night Chaser was because there was no cohesiveness there. It was all about who's going to be in charge, and drugs, and just all the wrong things. And for me, that was not what, because I'm the one that quit. That was not what I wanted happening. I mean, even bringing in people like Delmus Whitley, who would rip off girls' purses in hotel rooms and stuff like that, criminal stuff. Good singer. I didn't pick him. Willie Hoskins picked this guy, and it was from that, when he came into the group right after, just before the Kurtzon thing, it was downhill from there. We didn't write anything together. We didn't do anything except do routines and trying to write some songs, asking them to write songs back then. It wasn't happening. Period.
Not happening.
Everybody's too busy. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come right back, and let's talk a little bit more about your book and the business with singing with Natural 4, because you mentioned how just knowing certain things about the business now that you didn't know at that time. I want to mention something in the book that you wrote about, but let's take a quick break, and we will be right back. You are listening to the Mind, Body, and Spirit Radio Show, and we have author and musician Chris James, author of Music Saved My Life from Darkness into the Light, My Life as a 70s R&B soul singer. We'll be right back.
Make Black Talk Radio your choice for digital black radio. New black media for the new millennium.
All right, and we're back here at the Mind, Body, and Spirit show with Chris James, author of Music Saved My Life. And give us that website again where people can purchase your book.
Besides Amazon, they can go to chrisjames-natural4.com.
Great. You know what? Let me ask you this. As an author, your book is offered on your website. I know many people offer their books on their website. Is it a difference if we purchase the book directly from your website versus Amazon? Is there any particular choice that you would have for us in terms of purchasing?
If you get it from me, if you get it from Amazon, they do it. No, there's really no difference. I think about it, there's no difference.
All right, then. I was just wondering, do you get more money for your website or how it's recorded, the recordings or anything like that? Anyway, so we can purchase the book either way, his website or Amazon. Let me ask you this before you go. Now, in your book, you speak about 1974-75 with the Natural Four. You were in Chicago doing a show with Curtis Mayfield, The Impressions, the OJs, and you guys were at the amphitheater. Something happened there, and it seems like it was a mistake, and you wish you had responded differently. What happened at the show, and what did you learn from that?
Well, I learned to be a bit more calculating, but what happened was we were out there, and prior to us coming, because first, as a matter of fact, my son was he opened for us, and people loved him, and they didn't get the mics right after he came off the stage. They didn't have none of the mics were set up, and so we went up there and had to scramble around, get the mics together, and this was getting on down the line, because with me, I was really getting kind of pissed off because things were not going as well as I thought that they should go. Curtis and I never had a problem, ever. The whole time that I got to work with him and I were always on good terms. It was the business manager. And I just got pissed off and I lost it back in the dressing room after the show and proceeded to give the quote-unquote manager or executive producer, Marv Stewart, I lost it on him, and I shouldn't have done that. I wish that I hadn't have done that. It didn't cause them to do anything super negative to it, but from that point on, it was all downhill from there in terms of our relationship with him. But I should have done it a different way. Not that I shouldn't have done it. I should have done it in a different way. He should have handled his business good, but I should not have gone off. But I mean, I'm young. I want to impress because behind us is coming the OJs, and I want to do a good job. And we probably did a good job because the audience seems like us. But I was really high strung, so it was just a conversational mistake that I wish I had not done.
And so your lesson learned and what you would share with others is to just calm down, maybe take a breather. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Take your time and think about before you say something. Think about what you're going to say, and do it. If I had to do it over again, of course, which doesn't happen, I would do it totally different.
And what did you learn about yourself? Did you learn anything new about yourself after writing this book?
Oh, I learned that I like anybody else, I have a temper, and that I needed to learn how to control that temper. I wasn't a temper that was, violent or physical. It was just verbal type of temper. I believe in doing good shows. That was my whole thing. I mean, the reason for Natural 4 was successful is because I pride myself on when we hit the stage, let's hit the stage right. Mm-hmm. And I think it tied in with my own personal life at that time, if you know what I mean. Mm. So everything that had happened prior to it, because all of that baggage was with me through the Natural 4 time. It was right there with me. It never left.
But it sounds
When I
like
did this,
Go
you know, I
ahead.
said when I wrote this book, I didn't write it to be a book. I started this well over 20 years ago, and it was specifically meant for me to get out of me the frustration and anger that I had for what had happened. So I went to a psychiatrist in San Francisco, and he said the best way to do this, man, is to sit down and write these things down so that you can see them and you can read them and you can understand the things that you want to change. And it took me a long time, because I just released it last year. It took me a long time just to get through those things, because they weren't easy to get through. We're talking about it wasn't just the music. It was the people that were around me the time. I mean, I wish that you could take and wave a magic wand and change things. I know now exactly what I would have done in terms of myself. I would not have done half of the things backwards like I did. But I said this was not something I sat down and said, okay, I'm going to write a book. It was not about that. It was me purging all this madness that I had and all these things that happened to me as a young person.
All right. You have any more questions, Featherlight?
What encouraged you to go in for therapy in the first place? Because it's not something that we as people of color like to do or admit. What prompted you to seek therapy, to talk about this, to get this out?
And you're absolutely right. Most black men will not go and get help. And I thought about it, especially after I got out of service, and then you reading about my son Johnny from Germany, and I needed something to get me from point A to point B, and talking to somebody my own age that was going through whatever change was not helpful. And one day I just said, I need to see a psychiatrist. I need to speak to a psychiatrist. I need to speak to somebody to help me get through this. And I didn't just start with this psychiatrist in San Francisco, Dr. Smith. I actually started through the VA because I'm a vet. And so I started there, and they would say, well, maybe you need to get outside help. And that's when I went to San Francisco, sat down with the doctor, and he gave me some tapes and said, hey, you need to write this stuff down, because no one else had told me that. And then I started writing it down. We're talking about over 20 years ago. I started writing this book a little bit at a time, because there's a lot of baggage.
Right. It is.
You had some experiences, and we thank you so much for sharing.
Oh, thank you guys so much for having me. Excuse me, you
and
ladies.
Let us know when you write another book. Do you have another book in the works?
No, I'm telling you, no. I had not even thought. I'm telling you, I hadn't even thought about. Other people are saying, man, if you ask me, do I have other stories? Absolutely, but do I want to write them? This one in itself, as I said, was encouraged by really everybody that's close to me. They said, man, you need to put this down on paper. Even though I haven't, you need to have what you have on paper, you need to put it in book form. And that's why I did it. I have no plans, but one never knows.
Maybe a story or a short video in Galveston, Texas. Galveston Island, Texas.
Oh, wow.
All the way down here at the bottom.
How long have you guys been doing this?
Oh, about 4 years now.
Wow. Oh, that's beautiful. That's a good thing, sisters.
Well, thank you. Well, look, now, before you leave us, are you going to give us a tune?
I don't have anything. You want me to play something?
I want you to just give us a couple of lines, just a couple of lines to hear your voice. I'll even do the beat.
Right
I got
now,
the snaps.
No. I'll tell you what I'll do.
I got
Wait a
snaps.
minute.
Okay.
Can I send?
Okay.
Can I send you something?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
I'd like,
we'll let
I'd
you
like
get
to,
off with that.
Yes.
I'd like to send you my jazz CD.
Please.
Please.
You have my address. Yes. Yes.
Okay, if I don't have it, Makita has your address, right?
Yes, Makita has it because she
Okay,
sent the book.
I'll send you. I will send you It's a live album. I did it in one day. Really great musicians. It's just 3 pieces of myself, and I would love to send you a copy of the jazz album. And I'd like you to. It's just nothing special. Just sing it standard jazz song. But I'll send that to you. I'll get it out to you tomorrow. I'll get your address from you.
Thank you.
As soon as we receive the music, do we have your permission to play some of the music on air?
Oh, absolutely.
Great.
Well,
we
no
have
problem.
your legal permission now. Okay, because I don't want you trying to come back and sue us.
No. I'm too old for that. No. No, I would consider it an honor. I'd like to come and do a show out there before I give up this business.
Well, you should. You certainly should, and we can arrange that. We can arrange that. Yes, absolutely. Galveston is known for its nightlife and clubs and music, and Barry White is from here.
I didn't know that.
Barry White is from here. Yes.
I would love to come and do a show, and you got to give me. I'm telling you, I'm up in age. I'm still singing, but I'm up in age.
And you know what? When you come here and sing, this picture of you on the back, I can tell you in the middle of a spin or some kind of step or something. I want to see you do that. Baby, you got to see this. I got to tweet this picture out. You got to see this, baby. He's in the middle of a move. And look, Featherlight, he has that look on his face like, shuck, now I got y'all on this one. I've been practicing this one. I got this two-step. Yes, indeed. Okay. Well, Chris James, we have enjoyed you.
I've enjoyed you too. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Yes, we look forward to having you back. We'll have to have you back, and we can talk about some more themes of your book too, because we really didn't get into some of the other elements of the book that I did want to talk about. Just just to unpack some of the things like with the promiscuousness and the little girl that touched you, and more about your relationship with your mom, because I think more men should be able to have that space where they can talk about their relationships with their mom and how that has affected them or impacted them in their relationships.
And it really does affect us. And most cats do not even want to talk about. But yes, anytime, just let me know whenever you want me back. I'll be more than happy to just speak with you. And thank you so much for having me.
And you know what? You just made me think of something. Maybe we could have some type of forum also when you come to just really talk about that whole subject in and of itself, and just maybe have some men be able to talk about that. I think that would be absolutely great. And
believe me, brothers need to start talking about they need to start talking about these things. And there's a bunch of brothers out there going through the same kind of situation that I've gone through, that are, trying to play the macho role. I don't have a problem. I'm not macho.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Like I always say, if it happened to me, then it happened to a million other people. I always say that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, hook it up. Don't make it too long now, seriously, because brother's getting old here.
I know, brother. I know.
We will be in touch very soon.
Okay, we'll put that together. Thank you.
Okay,
good night.
You take care and God bless you. Good night. Ciao, ciao.
Same to you. Namaste.
Olin Christopher Bell, a.k.a. Chris James, author of Music Saved My Life from Darkness into the Light, My Life as a 70s R&B soul singer. He was with the group The Natural Four between the years of 1968 and 1976. Check out his book. As he mentioned, you could go to his website, and you can also go on to Amazon.com. If you missed that website, just replay this episode and you'll be able to catch that website. But again, you can just go on Amazon. I always do that. Amazon, one click buy. Yes, give it to me. Thank you very much.
Put it in the basket.
Put it in the basket. Put it in my little cart. Thank you. Send it on to me. So anyway, I enjoyed him. I really did, Featherlight. I'm glad we had him on. Absolutely. What a wonderful person. Very good read. Very, 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 very good read. All right. So let me see. Featherlight, where are we? What do we have? Why
don't you go through some of the hot topics that we missed due to my not being on line?
Yes. Quickly. Let me go through this. I have to mention Oprah Winfrey's speech at the Golden Globes. She gave one of the most inspirational speeches, as she always does. Gives these. I mean, that woman just knows how to talk. She just has that. She is truly Midas with that Midas touch, and she looks so beautiful. I mean, you can have your issue, problems with Oprah, whatever it may be, but when you look at her overall life and her story to come from where she's come. I know some people say, oh, that's not true. Whatever the case may be, the story that she's presented, the branding, the package, it in and of itself is inspirational to me for her to have come from where she's come from, being called a monkey, for having producers tell her, just like this young girl that we just mentioned, Amara La Negra, people trying to tell her she looks like a monkey or her afro is this and that. And I remember Oprah talking how producers didn't like her afro and her look. And so she went through all this turmoil with the perms and her hair falling out and all this business. And for her to stand up on stage and be the billionaires that she is, self-made billionaire, and to give this speech, a new day is on the horizon. Okay.
Right.
To me, it was just inspirational just to hear her talking about Sidney Poitier and seeing him win the Cecil DeMille Award. And goodness gracious, let me see. I'm trying to see a few other things. Well, I'll just get to
Reese. Really mentioned Reese Taylor.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to. I was just trying to pull out something else that she mentioned. She referenced the time is up. You know, that's the new hashtag and movement attached to the Me Too. But when she mentioned Reese Taylor, and we talked about Reese Taylor a couple of weeks ago, last week I neglected to mention that Reese Taylor passed, but we briefly mentioned the story of Reese Taylor, how she was gang raped by 6 men. She never was able to receive any justice in this case. Of course, when they raped her, they told her don't say anything. And she, like many other women, Reese Taylor, was just walking home. Reese Taylor was walking home from church, her and someone else. So there was a witness to this crime. They told Reese to get in the car and to have sex with them like she had sex with her husband. This was not some just stray woman walking home from the club or anything like that. This was a wife and a mother. And Reese Taylor was gang raped by these 6 men, told to never say anything. She went home, told her parents. Everyone knew what happened. One of the assailants even confessed to the rape, but justice was never, ever served. And Rosa Parks, the great Rosa Parks, was the NAACP rape crisis investigator. So Rosa Parks helped Reese Taylor. Now, just like this woman, and I did mean to get her name. Let me see. Do I have this woman's name? Some people may have heard about this. One of the women, I want to say her name is Dina Johnson. One of the women that accused Roy Moore, the alleged pedophile, Roy Moore. Tina Johnson, that's her name. Her home was possibly the result of an arson. Her home was set afire, and it's possibly arson because of her speaking out and speaking her truth. This is the same thing that Reese Taylor and Rosa Parks had to experience, and many others having their homes burned down if they were brave enough to even speak about what happened to them. So I really appreciate Oprah injecting Reese Taylor into her speech, because she didn't have to do that. Now, as much as people might say, oh, Oprah this, she'll sell out, she don't do nothing for black people here, and blah, 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 whatever the case may be. And you never know what path or steps a person is taking. You never know what path they are on. You never know why they do what they have to do.
There you go.
Whatever she had to do, whatever beans and rice she had to eat, like my parents tell me the things that they had to go through and the times they had to sit down and be quiet and couldn't rebut someone, stand up for themselves because they had to think about their children, and I can't lose my job because I gotta feed my baby. Things that they had to experience. You never know what a person what they're having to go through and experience and endure in order for them to continue living, literally. And so I appreciate Oprah mentioning the story of Reese Taylor. And she said, if you don't know her story, you need to get to know it. So I'm sure a lot of people were Googling Reese Taylor if they hadn't already Googled her, because there is a documentary. There's a woman that has actually conducted some research. Now, Reese Taylor's story is one story of many in this book. I do not have the name of that book in front of me right now because we're in a little bit of a time crunch here. But Reese Taylor's story was just one story in this book that this particular author wrote about. And there's many stories about how Black women were violated. It was commonplace to just be able to rape a Black woman. And so that's why there needs to be a different conversation held amongst Black women to talk about our experience and differentiate that from like what some other women are talking about, the sexual harassment in the workplace and things like this. We've experienced sexual harassment in such a deleterious way, just so damaging to us. When you think about how how many women under the age of 18 have been molested, how many women have been molested by the time they turn 18 or have been raped or sexually assaulted. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And I am learning now how those experiences have affected and impacted me in my relationships. And we wonder why we sometimes may have these unhealthy relationships. A lot of that stems from, I would go as far as to say, a lot of that stems from us being molested, sexually harassed. You may not want people to touch you in a certain way. Like, even though I'm a touchy-feely kind of person, it's so odd because when people touch my arm just in conversation, I involuntarily always draw within. And it's not because, I don't want you to touch me. It's just natural. I always do that. And then I have to catch myself because I don't want them to think, what's wrong with her? How come she don't want me to touch her? She don't like me? And I mean, this could just be a regular friend that I'm talking to. I have to be really, really close for you and accustomed to you touching my arm or my hand in order for me to not draw back. So a lot of these assaults, they affect us in our older years and throughout our lives and just not being able to have healthy relationships. So we really, 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 really got to talk about it. Get that therapy that you need. Have someone that you can speak to and talk to. I think about like how strong Reese Taylor's father must have been, because he would tell people, those men raped my daughter. And so, back in that time, a lot of parents, especially fathers, they knew they had to protect their family. And if they knew that if they stepped out and said something, they could be lynched, they could have their tongue cut off, they could be killed, anything. If you have not seen that movie Mudbound, check it out, Mudbound on Netflix, because it's focusing on how when these Black men came back from World War II, how they were still mistreated. They were forced to come through the back door and all of this after they've been all around the world fighting for the rights and freedom of people. But then they come back here to their homeland and still mistreated. So check that movie out. And then I also wanted to mention, then Featherlight, if you have anything to share about the speech, please do. Sterling K. Brown's speech. He is one of my new favorites. Love him.
Me too.
Sterling K. Brown on This Is Us. Yes, he made history for winning Best Male Lead Actor in a Series Drama. Mm-hmm. So Sterling K. Brown portrays Randolph, the character Randolph. And in his speech, he spoke about how he's always been injected in these roles where it's, well, let's have this person, and we'll just have you feel this role, this particular character role. So, but he spoke about in his speech how this role was written specifically for a Black man, and he said that he felt good about being able to be a Black man. This was a role written for a Black man, and he could actually portray all of the complexities of a Black man, and how Black men some Black men feel that they have to be perfect, and everything has to be just right and thought out and planned and no mistakes. And that's how we live our lives, many of us, because we always talk you got to work twice as hard. Right here and right now, if I had some children, I wouldn't tell them that. I would not tell them that, because that has hindered us. And it's also hindered those other people who we've been taught to work twice as hard against, or that's not proper. How would you say that? We've been taught to work twice as hard as one group, whereas they've been able to lax, and now they're suffering because we've been doing all kind of flips, getting degrees, starting businesses, and doing well, and they're like, well, damn, I was told that they weren't as smart as I am. That's why they got to work twice as hard. And I'll go back to this conversation, and I'm always say it. I remember when I was a freshman at the University of Martinet, Tennessee, and that's back when they used to have to put the grades on the outside of the door. And I remember, because there was only a handful of us Black folks over there in the butt-fuck country, excuse my language. And I remember I would probably be one of two Black people in the class, and I would look at all the grades, and I'd see my grade, and, the grades, were in descending order. And I would look at all the grades below me, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is a class full of white people that's got grades lower than me. Hold up now. I thought they were smart, because that's what we were taught. That's what we were taught. That we had to work twice as hard, because the way that we interpreted that is we're not as smart as they are. We're not as good as they are. So we have to work twice as hard. But then I'm sitting here at 19 years of age, 18 years of age, looking at 18, looking at these grades. And I'm like, well, damn, that's all a lie. Hell, they're no smarter than I am. Why is it that not just this class, all my classes, I see my grades are higher than these other people? You have 50-something students in a class, 2 of them Black. And I know what my grade is, and I'm seeing all of these other about 30-something grades, 40 grades below mine. So you see that psychological trauma and drama crap that we have to go through. All right. Yeah, I said that little piece. You have anything to say before we go to our break, Featherlight?
No, go ahead. You're on the roll.
Well, we're going to go to break, and then we'll come back with African Spirit. But I didn't know if you wanted to mention anything about Oprah's speech and Reese Taylor.
Oh, no. I am just glad that she mentioned it. I'm glad that she also mentioned Speak Your Truth, because both of those topics we had touched on here at Mind, Body, and Spirit. So that means we're on the same plane. We're in that energy that's moving. And
that energy that's moving.
She inspired me to do another piece, another spoken word.
Another spoken word. All right, then. Well, let's take a break. And when we come back, we'll come back with our African Spirit. And we are celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King. We'll be right back. You tuned into the Mind, Body, and Spirit radio show.
2008, the Black Talk Media Project launched the digital radio platform Black Talk Radio Network, the first such platform created to serve the Black community specifically. Black Talk Radio Network has grown with a variety of radio hosts, digital radio stations, and podcasters. Web analytics say Black Talk Radio, the platform, has an online reach that ranks it among the top independent Black media platforms in the world. All of this is possible because of financial contributions to the nonprofit Black Talk Media Project. If you love the work we do and the voices and perspectives we bring to you every day, make a donation today to ensure that Black Talk Radio is here in the future. Black Talk Radio is new Black media for the new millennium.
Tonight for our African Spirit here at the Mind, Body, and Spirit Radio Show, we are, of course, honoring Dr. Martin Luther King since we're celebrating his birthday this weekend and officially on Monday. And this Monday will actually, the celebration will actually fall on his actual birthday. You know, they couldn't give him the national holiday on his birthday. They had to do some old stuff. Now, some of these younger people may not remember, well, they weren't here, rather, when we were fighting for this day, when Coretta Scott King started to push to make his birthday a national holiday. I remember that. And I remember John McCain not wanting to vote for the holiday in Arizona. I remember you, John McCain. Yeah, I remember you. I see you. So, Dr. King, Prince of Peace. Dr. King, an American Baptist minister and activist who became the most visible spokesperson and leader in the civil rights movement. Children, Martin Luther King III, Yolanda King, and Bernice King. Dexter Scott. He was born on January 15th, noon, in Atlanta, assassinated in my hometown of Memphis, Tennessee on April 4th, 1968. During the less than 13 years of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s leadership of the modern American civil rights movement from December 1955 until April 4th, as we mentioned, African Americans achieved more genuine progress towards racial equality in America than the previous 350 years had produced. He's widely regarded as America's preeminent advocate of nonviolence and one of the greatest nonviolent leaders in world history. You know, I really don't like when we just focus on the nonviolent. That's always associated with Dr. King, you know, just to try to keep us being nonviolent. Well, you want to be there.
He was murdered.
Exactly. So you murdered the nonviolent man. So yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, I need to keep being nonviolent, right? Okay. So Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech, Nobel Peace Prize lecture, and letter from Birmingham jail, which now I believe that the letter from Birmingham jail is something that that's a must read. Read that letter and read it over and over. Read it again and again throughout your life, because you can learn so much from that letter. And I would also beg to differ that I Have a Dream speech is his best speech. I would say that why I oppose the Vietnam War was his best, in my opinion. Right. And of course, that's not promoted. Right. That's not promoted. But let's see. His accomplishments are now taught to American children of all races, and his teachings are studied by scholars and students worldwide. In 1955, he was recruited to serve as spokesman for the Montgomery bus boycott, which was a campaign by the African American population of Montgomery, Alabama, to force integration of the city's bus lines. After 381 days of nearly universal participation by citizens of the Black community, many of whom had to walk miles to work each day. As a result, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that racial segregation in transportation was unconstitutional. Actually, the bus companies were losing too much money, so they had to do something. Yes. Okay, let's just keep it real. It's not like they said, "Oh, well, let's go on and let the black people ride the bus." You know, we let them ride wherever they want. No, they were losing money, just like Wonder Bread was
hit them in the
money.
pockets. Hit them in
right.
the pockets.
That's right. That's right. And as much as people would like to honor Dr. King now, let's also be very, very clear that there were many ministers that did not welcome Dr. King into their church. There were many, many people, leaders in the community, that opposed Dr. King, and these were a lot of these Christian leaders as well. But we honor him. We honor Dr. King as well as Coretta. Coretta Scott King was one of our African Spirit honorees of 3 weeks ago. And so we know behind every great person is another great person. Not behind them. Next to them is another great person. That's right. Next to them. That's right. And despite what anybody may say about any of his outside affairs or whatever else he was doing, the man was great. We all have our faults. And we thank you, Dr. King, for giving your life. He came to Memphis to help the sanitation workers who were striking and wanted to form a union because they were forced to they were forced to work in horrible conditions. And there was a man that was eating his sandwich, his lunch, and he was crushed in the back of a garbage truck because the black men were not allowed to come inside and eat their lunch when it was raining. They had to eat their lunch outside or stand inside the same filthy garbage truck where they were collecting garbage. And he was crushed to death. So these men begged Dr. King to come and help them. And he did. And Dr. King was already on his Poor People's Campaign tour, exhausted, had some trepidation about coming to assist, but he did. And he came here, led the march. It was a violent march because you had some agents involved in all of this business, breaking the glass downtown Memphis. So he wanted to come back and lead another peaceful march. Dr. King was assassinated. Of course, there's a lot of controversy around his assassination. If you have not watched that video when Baba Dick Gregory talks about the assassination of Dr. King and the people who could have possibly played a part in it, then you should definitely watch that video. All right. Because we used to attend, what was his name? Billy Kyle's church right there in South Memphis. Okay. And Billy Cowles makes a statement on their video saying, and then I stepped to the side so that they could get a clear shot. Like, wait a minute, little man, you got to take your medicine today. You telling off on yourself. You said what? Look, you say what now? You say what now? You step to the side so they can do what now?
Wait, what? Wait, what?
Hold on, wait a minute, what? But see, what's so horrendous about his statement is that man got to see another day after he made that statement. And so that's when I have a problem with a lot of us. Because, see, we let too many of these crooks, thieves, criminals, and robbers and just miscreants in our community see another day. All right. So anyway, Dr. King, we celebrate you. We celebrate you and thank you for your contribution to society and just giving your life. We honor you, we thank you, and we love you. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Yes.
Bravo,
All right.
Namaste.
All right. So what do we have now? Oh, can I mention this? Get Out, the movie, that movie Get Out.
Yeah.
It did not win because it was in that comedy story for the Golden Globes. And I mean, that movie, what's his name? Key Peele or whatever, something. I can't
Key and Peele.
Peele. What's his name?
Well, it's two of them. It's Key and Peele. But before you go to that, can I say something about Dr. King?
Sure.
because he gets a bad rap. And, you know, I was reading a story today about a $550,000 lawsuit that these women won for sexual harassment on the job. Now, and the EEOC investigated that. I just wonder if people realize when they try to denigrate Dr. King's legacy, the integration, is that was not his goal. And the reason people are able to sue for sexual harassment, you know, discrimination based on gender, discrimination based on race, discrimination based on religion, discrimination based on national origin, that's because of what Dr. King and those who worked for him fought for that federal law to make that illegal before it was perfectly illegal for them to do all those things to you. So that's part of his legacy. Every time you read about somebody winning a case or settling a case for discrimination based on race, sex, religion, national origin, thank Dr. King. Okay, those people should be thanking Dr. King.
Thank you, Scotty. Thank you for bringing that to light. A lot of people are not aware of that.
I don't know if Black Rose is talking, but we can't hear you.
Black Rose? Scotty, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I hope I did not cause her some problems, but I mean, that's just part of his legacy that I see.
It was so, and that has affected so many people, not just people of color, but so many people are benefiting from that. And you're right. You're right. People want to find one little thing or two little things and just harp on something negative, rather than looking at the whole picture. And yeah, that affected a lot of people. So thanks for making that known to a lot of people that came up later.
Black Rose, do we have you back,
so
ma'am? I just don't know what happened to her mic, Featherlight. Okay, looks like she got disconnected because I see her saying Black Rose is viewing the chat room, so maybe she got disconnected or something. Let me see.
Yeah, she's calling back. Okay.
Okay. There she is. Yeah, Prince is one of my favorite artists too, so.
I had to represent. Baby. I had to represent. So I missed what you said though, Scotty, because I was disconnected. You said you were saying the reason that people can sue?
Featherlight, if you will fill her in.
Okay. Any type of discrimination regarding race, creed, religion, any of that, and people are suing and winning. That is all because of Dr. King and his people working to get that approved, get that passed. So a lot of people are riding on that, and he's getting a bad rap because people don't realize that is through their efforts.
That's right. And you know, we were talking about something similar to that. Yeah, we were talking about a similar situation the other day, how what we have experienced, period, as Black people has enabled so many people. We always have had to come through it and just get kicked in the butt, okay, to make things better in all of these, in other people's lives, like affirmative action. And who benefits the most from that, from affirmative action? Not us. These people keep talking about, well, if we didn't have affirmative action, I would have been able to get that place at that college. I would have been accepted to that college. Listen, and nobody's keeping you from being out of college. I just talked about how my grades were better than everybody's grades in my classes. not better than everybody's, but I had high marks. Okay. And I had, not only the minority scholarships, I had academic scholarships as well. And I do say scholarships with an S, full ride. Okay. So nobody's taking no places from nobody. And,
Right.
and what made me think about that is, also I saw this, guy that I follow on Twitter. And he said, he was talking about affirmative action, how people are complaining about how they're not being accepted to college because, they want to say these Negroes taking our places in college and these Asian people taking our place in college and all of this. And he said, if that was the case, if we were going to college for free, that's what they were trying to say. We're going to college for free, not that we're necessarily taking their places. He said, then I wouldn't have my daughter's tuition. So people began to reply to the tweet saying, yeah, and I wish that they could eradicate my student loans since, I'm having since I went to college for free, then, okay, then I don't need to pay back a student loan. And if anybody should be going to school for free, it should be us. Since you prevented us from learning to read, from gaining an education, we're the ones that created education. People came from, let me just break this down right quick so it can forever be broke. Okay, like they said on what's my show? Love. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we were the ones that created schools and education, mystery schools. People came from all around the world to study at the temples. Okay? People came from all around the world, and everything is always attributed to Greeks. Well, the Greeks studied at the Africans' feet. So let's be clear. So anytime you're sitting in the classroom and people always want to talk about Socrates and anybody else, then always take them back to how they learned from Imhotep and many others. So these people didn't create things. We created education, so we should be the ones, since we were prohibited from gaining an education and still stuck in poor schools, we should be the ones that should have free education. Yes, I said it. Yeah, give me my free. Always talking about what we want for free. You're damn right I want my free education. And while you're giving me my free education, give me my free housing too, since you went around and burned my ancestors' land and homes that could have been wealth passed down to my family. And then they want to sit up here and talk about how we live in the projects and we do this and that. Well, you the ones, it was your government's policies that put us in the projects.
Project X.
And redlined us. And if you have not read that book, The Color of Law, read that book where it talks about redlining through government policies, through real estate agencies' policies. How they kept us out of neighborhoods and how white people were given welfare money, call it subsidies, welfare money, whatever you want to call it. How they were given money to move into the suburbs. And some of these people were paying less than what we were paying for our housing in the project.
In the projects.
So let's be very, very clear.
And what happened to those houses? They were transferred to their children. The wealth was transferred to the children.
Right. Any financial advisor will tell you that's how wealth is so-called created here in America, through home ownership, where you prevented us from home ownership. Those that had homes, you burnt them down. All right. Fellow Light, I know I cut into some of your time, but hopefully Scotty give us a few more minutes. Scotty, please give us a few more minutes. We had these technical difficulties. So let me let you go ahead on and get into your piece, Feather Light.
Okay. I'm going to briefly give a little information on Love the Body. This is specifically for men, but ladies, you have a man you care about, share this with him. With over 3 million cases per year, prostate cancer is a rapidly growing epidemic in this country. And I don't need to pull any stats to know that the numbers affecting our black men are at a much higher disproportionate rate than any other ethnic group. So here are some things men can look for in the prostate health supplements. Pumpkin seeds, also known as pepitas, P-E-P-I-T-A-S. They contain high amounts of zinc, which is essential to prostate health. 1 cup per day provides almost half the daily recommended allowance. Eating 1 handful of seeds a day or pumpkin seed oil is the suggested dose. Pumpkin seed. I'm going to put that on the BTR page, okay? Researchers show that saw palmetto can alleviate symptoms of an enlarged prostate by shrinking the inner lining that puts pressure on the tubes that carry the urine. Saw palmetto. Stinging nettle. It's a common herbal remedy for enlarged prostate and frequent urination. So, it is also helps with hair loss in aging men. Ashwagandha, 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 has been an alternative.
That's a really good.
Yes, I use that. I mean, it's not just for men. It's been an alternative for decades to slow the process of andropause or male menopause. Yes, men have menopause too. They just don't talk about it. It's an herb shown to improve libido, increase your energy and testosterone levels. It also promotes vitality and support your male fertility. Okay, so that is really something to have. And lastly, vitamin D3. I mentioned this about a week or so ago. Vitamin D deficiency can cause low estrogen in women and low testosterone in men. Okay, which means low sex drive. So if you feel a little bit more frisky in the summer months, there's a very good reason for that, because you are getting more vitamin D. You're being out more. Cod liver oil is also a good source. Vitamin D can also improve brain function. Vitamin D can help men lose abdominal fat. The vitamin D, this is the amount that is recommended. People over 50 should get 400 IU daily, over 7,000. No, skip that. 2,000 IU daily. D3 rather than D2. Okay. Vitamin D, the number 3, not 2. It is also known as the sexy vitamin because it improves your libido. So that is my Love the Body. And I would like to share, before we get into our breathing, a spoken word that I just recently did. Actually, yesterday and today. And I was sort of inspired by Oprah Winfrey's speech. Sometimes I will get a title and I'll just make a note of it and I'll come back and I'll fill in the words. So I've had this title for a while. The title is Get Up. But I just started filling in the words yesterday. So you guys will be the first ones to hear. This is my first time speaking this out loud. So the title is, I said, Get Up. Oh, may I have some finger snaps or something? Because I have to get into my empath mode. I don't hear anything. Black Rose, finger snaps. Thank you. Everybody else listening, finger snaps. Just imagine that you're seeing me sitting on the little stool and I'm getting ready and the lights are dim. All right. I know you're down, but when you gonna get up? I know you feel like you've been run over by 3 Mack trucks, but when you gonna get up? I know you feel like your heart has been broken into a million pieces, but it's only your ego that's been bruised. And I sympathize with you, but when you gonna get up? I know you feel like you're not where you're supposed to be, so you got tired and decided to take a seat, got comfortable and lost track of time, so you're on pause. It seems like the world hates your very essence, but your essence is envied and imitated by many. So when are you going to hit play and get up? You've been beaten, kicked, scorned, talked about as sure as you're born. But there is a time limit to mourn. So it's time for you to get up. You've been lying in the bed, staring at the wall, trying to decide if you should even move at all. When you know you've gotten up stronger from every fall. So don't you think it's time to get up? You say you're tired of feeling weak and being strong, knowing what's right but doing wrong. And it's taking all of your might just to hold on. I feel you, so let's get up. You've been tricked, bamboozled, lied to, and splayed. You've been harassed, stalked, blocked, and delayed. You've been silenced, subdued, disenchanted, and dismayed. I know you're tired of getting up off the floor, but this right here, right now, is worth fighting for. There's a train coming headed your way, picking up warriors who are fighting for a better day. You came here with your tickets to ride. You have everything you need inside. All you have to do is get up and use your magic. You've given birth to nations, led hundreds of armies, ruled centuries of dynasties, and caused popes and kings to secretly bow. Your beauty and stature, the subject of artists and poets. But hear me when I say it's your time now. Rise, get information, use your magic. You're gifted with an overflowing cup. It's been waiting for you all along. All you have to do is get the fuck up. Ooh. Namaste.
Ooh, namaste. Get up. Get moving. Get out the sunken place.
Get up. Get up.
It's hard to get up sometimes, Featherlight. It's hard to get up sometimes.
I know. That's why I'm trying to inspire.
Okay.
I'm trying to inspire.
Okay. Well, we hope that people have been
pushing. I'm pushing. I'm nudging. I'm feeling so many people that it's they're like, oh, I just can't. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
You have to take that step.
Yeah, got to take that step. Got to take that
step.
All right, so let's relax.
Yes, that's what I've been waiting on.
Breathe, and relax. Did you have a letter?
We'll have to read it next week.
Okay. Oh my gosh. This is going to be a short, quick reading. Okay, so take a deep, conscious breath. You are aware. Scotty, that was pure art. So I do not apologize for the obscenity. That is art. Okay. Take a deep, conscious breath. You are aware that you're breathing. You're controlling your breath. Place your hands on your lower abdomen, your energy core, and breathe. Women, left hand over right. Men, right hand over left. Keeping your shoulders down and relaxed. Inhale. Take a deep inhale. And then exhale. Inhale again. Exhale. Now, slightly As you inhale, exhale and drop your left ear to your left shoulder and slightly tuck in your chin. And breathe. Just breathe normally. Now inhale and return your head to the center. Inhale again, and as you exhale, drop your right ear to your right shoulder and slightly tuck in your chin. And breathe. Inhale and raise your head back to the center. Now this time, inhale to the count of 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Relax, drop your hands down and just slowly twist your body, plant it a little wider than your shoulder width apart, and just swing. Shoulders feel no pain, and just let your arms follow your body. Now slap your lower abdomen and your lower back with your hands as you swing. These are very important energy centers, your lower abdomen and your spine. So slap these areas of energy. Now slowly unwind and come to a stillness. And closing, you're going to raise your hands over your head with palms facing each other. Look upward. And gather some good heavenly chi or energy and slowly bring down the chi over your crown, past your chest, your energy core center, your abdomen, and pushing down towards your feet. Once more, your arms out and up, palms facing. Grab the chi, bring it down over your crown, chest, your abdomen, toward the floor. One last time. This time form a triangle. Grab the chi, bring it down over your crown, your shoulders, bring it to the center core, your stomach, your abdomen. Just hold it and breathe. Sweep out one more time. Swoop your arms out, up, bring them down into the prayer symbol, the Mudra Anjali. Take a slight bow, smile, namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you so much for joining us in our Qigong and our Pranayama. We will see you next week. Namaste.
Namaste and good night.